Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us as we explore real estate markets all over the world. Our mission is to educate you on real estate possibilities that exist outside of your own city, and there are so many. Our goal is to connect you with experts throughout the world who can take a dream and make it a reality for you. And we have successfully matched buyers and agents in the just under 2 years of Let's Explore. And we intend to continue to turn those dreams into reality with the collaboration of agents from the KW countries. It's now 53 global regions and growing, I understand. And of course, let's not forget the over 850 KW offices right here in the US of A. So for today's focus, the postcard images of scenic landscapes of spectacular lakes and mountains, undoubtedly they're alluring, of course. And as the second largest country in the world, its geography alone allows for vast diversity in cultures, in all kinds of activities, and in cuisine, my favorite, from the icebound Arctic tundra to vibrant cities. I mean, just tell me, where else can a fashionista find world-class shopping or choose to swim with polar bears? That's a little crazy. And then also spend the night in an ice hotel. We are talking about the Great White North, Canada. And if you are ready to take the plunge and move to the land of maple syrup, which is home to nearly 3,000 hockey rinks, I understand, and the most polar bears in the world, then listen up today. We are going to educate you. And there's a lot to learn before you pack your bags to see the Northern Lights. So let us spend some time today to learn what makes Canada amazing. Specifically, we are turning our attention to Toronto. In Toronto, Canada's largest city, more than 140 languages are spoken. That alone makes Toronto super cool. And now you may not find Canadian black bear or bison walking downtown famous Yonge Street. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly.
You are.
But you will find some spectacular real estate. And we're joined today to learn about that real estate from my favorite Canadian. Let us welcome Irene. And Irene, I'm not even going to try to say your last name because I am notorious for butchering people's names. So I'm going to let you do that.
Thank you, Jeanette. That was an incredible intro. I think that's probably better than I've heard some Canadians describe Canada. So kudos to you. And yes, we are extremely large and extremely multicultural. We are certainly a melting pot, and we have some incredible geography. I'm very honored to be here to represent the whole country, even though I am in Toronto and I've been here for the last 45 years when my parents brought me here from another really big and very cold country, being Russia. So it's been my home since, and I can't imagine living anywhere else. So thanks for giving me the opportunity to share today.
Well, thank you. We are grateful to have you with us today. And in just a few minutes, we're going to delve a little bit more into your professional background. But first, let me remind the audience to take a moment and tag your friends in the comment box so they can find this episode later. And remember to find us, Finelli Residential Group, on the YouTube channel for all of our past episodes. There's a lot in there internationally and some throughout the US. So Irene, I know what makes you special, but share with the audience what makes you so special, what makes you an expert in Toronto.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you for that. So for those of you who do have challenges with pronunciation, my name is easier to say than to spell. It's Kaushansky. And I have been in real estate in January. It's going to be my 30th anniversary. So I'd like to
happy anniversary.
Thank you. I'd like to think I have some longevity in the business. I've made a lot of mistakes. I've learned a lot, and I'm very honored to still be here. It's an industry where it looks beautiful and glamorous from the outside, and there's certainly a lot of work that has to go in behind the scenes, as you know, being as successful as you are in Austin. So I'm very grateful to still be here and have a thriving business. My husband and I are partners in our team. He is also the owner, operator, broker, and broker of record of our Keller Williams portfolio office in Midtown Toronto. It was the first luxury office in Canada, actually. And although our price point tends to be a little bit higher in Toronto, as is probably known, we on our team pride ourselves on providing a luxury service to our buyers and sellers regardless of their price point. So we think that's really important, whether it's a small 500 square foot condo or a multi-million-dollar home. We want all of our clients to feel really special. And our team is very much in the same mindset, and everybody works for the client, not just for a transaction. If there's an opportunity for a client, we will highlight it for them. If something is not the right purchase for a client, we'll let them know that as well, because we focus on building relationships. And I think that's a little bit different, certainly from a lot of realtors that just want to make a sale. So it's really, that's the special part, not just for me, but for my whole team.
Well, I've known you for a very long time, and I can tell you, audience, Irene is being quite modest. She is a dynamo. And her and her husband, Philip, are definitely a real estate power couple. So if you're in Toronto area, a visit with them regarding real estate is certainly on the top things to do in Toronto list.
Thank you.
And I know, Irene, you do, as you mentioned, you take a concierge approach with your clients. And so I'm sure you would agree that investing or moving to any new country actually is a serious undertaking, and there's much to do before making that leap, before making a purchase. So today, we really want to look at those things, from financing to pricing, perhaps hold costs, or even some properties will have the opportunity where you can lease them out and monetize that purchase. The primary owner is not using it. So these are all important factors, because we know that we want to be smart with our money. And if we're going to make an investment, we want to know if it's going to appreciate, how it's going to turn out, because real estate really is a long-term hold, as you know. So, audience, our format is that we're going to have some Q&A with Irene. And at the end of it, we will share some properties. I think we have 4 properties for today. So, audience, please be prepared to take note at the end of our time together, because we're also going to post Irene's contact information for your reference. And by the end of the hour, you will see what I already know, that Irene and Philip are the resources for Toronto real estate. So, Irene, let's start with this. What really drives foreign buyers to want to purchase, and you can answer this 2 ways, in Canada as a whole, and specifically, what drives them to want to buy in Toronto?
Sure, that's a great question, just because Canada is such a giant country. We have metropolitan cities like Toronto, Vancouver, and of course Montreal as well. And there's smaller hubs, whether they're main cities that are just smaller in size, or suburbs that still offer a quieter lifestyle. The country in general is very safe. Our healthcare is very strong. Our political climate is very established and calm. So there are a lot of reasons other than just real estate to, relocation for living. I think that's a very personal thing, and that's probably a seminar in and of itself. But as far as investing and having either a vacation property or an investment property in an area where financing is stable, our banking system is on very solid ground. Our governments, both federally and provincially, have taken great steps to protect buyers and sellers and make sure that the people that are getting into the market are financially viable, and that it will bring stability to the economy as opposed to throw it into turmoil. Safety, healthcare, like you mentioned at the very beginning, such a vast geography geography. Yes, we have polar bears. Yes, we have mountains. Yes, we have skiing. We also have very, very hot summers. Very, very hot summers, and a lot of homeowners in even in the core of Toronto, maybe not quite downtown, but certainly Toronto proper, have swimming pools, and we have, you know, heat like crazy. So it's nice to have the seasons. It's nice to have that diversity, both in the climate and living options as well.
You're talking to a Texan, so I can tell you a little bit about heat. That's for sure. But so Toronto is a major world-class city, so I would expect it's not inexpensive to live there. But I think from my research, it appears that the cost of living, though it might be higher than the average city, what you get in return from that is also higher than the average city. And the quality of life and the lifestyle that is offered in Toronto is superior. I mean, it's superb, really. And there's something for everyone. So your foreign buyers, do they tend to be empty nesters, families? What do you see kind of purchasing in your relocation pool?
Well, there is definitely quite the gamut of demographics. We do have people coming, perhaps not relocating, but coming to invest from economic climates that aren't as stable, and they want a safe place for their own investments. We certainly have a plethora of parents buying in the metropolitan cities so that their children can go to our universities, which are world-class and renowned. As far as downsizing, you know, once you start getting into the whole relocation realm, I mean, you have a whole, I mean, that's just, there's so many different options in there as well. But with stability in the economy, and like you said, there's such a variety of options of what you can do. The art galleries you can go to, the different foods that you can eat. I mean, any of our major streets, and sometimes even our smaller streets, have just a countless number of countries represented in the cuisine, which is great if you're a foodie. My family and I are big foodies, including our teenagers. So we really, really take advantage of it. Now that COVID has leveled off a little tiny bit and we're able to get out again, it's been really a blessing for us to live here. And it's what makes, you know, Canada in general and Toronto specifically so attractive to so many foreign buyers.
It definitely, and for those foreign buyers, there are some rules to buying property in Canada. It seems relatively straightforward, but can you kind of give us the basics of the process for foreign purchasing?
Yeah, absolutely. And it really depends on the type of foreign purchaser. There have been two foreign buyer taxes that have been implemented, one in Ontario and one on the West Coast in British Columbia. And that is if you are not working here and if you have not applied for permanent residency and you do not have a child that is going full-time to university, there's a foreign buyer tax. It's 15% of the purchase of the home. So it's not insignificant, but it's definitely in place to protect Canadians and as well as not completely deter foreign ownership. And from a down payment perspective, you're generally looking at about 35% as a foreign owner, unless you fall into one of the exceptions.
So you mentioned down payment, so that alludes to the fact that there is the opportunity to finance, because in some countries, that is not an option. It's only cash purchases. So as a foreigner, a non-resident, and not falling into any of those categories, is it relatively easy to get a bank loan?
It really depends on the client and what their whole financial picture is, but there's definitely opportunities. You know, sometimes you may be looking at a slightly higher down payment, but there are lots of options for financing, and our interest rates right now are extremely low. For us, fixed rates right now, you could get a 5-year mortgage under 2%.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, yeah, and that's on the high end. Sorry?
So that's the lowest I've heard. That's amazing.
Yeah, and for homeowners that are here that have we have insured mortgages. Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation will insure mortgages for the lenders where a buyer has less than 20% down. And those types of mortgages tend to come with even lower interest rates because the country, the federal government, is actually insuring those mortgages. So you can get something in the 1.4 to 1.5 range right now. And if you can lock into that as a buyer for the next 5 to 6 years, that's a very, very affordable monthly payment, which helps to offset some of the cost of the real estate, which tends to be a little bit higher.
Absolutely. So other than that foreign buyer tax, what are some other, if I were to purchase a property in Toronto, are there any other kind of continuous hold costs?
Continuous, you're really only looking at property taxes, which on average, we'll just use sort of a $1 million property. You're looking at property taxes annually, anywhere from $3,500 to $5,000 a year. When you're just outside of the city limits in the suburbs, those property taxes tend to be a little bit higher. It really depends on what you want and where you want to be. That's really the typical ongoing cost that you cannot avoid annually. That just happens every year, no matter what. On the acquisition front, we have land transfer taxes. I can speak to Ontario. Each province has their own land transfer tax formula. In Ontario, it is a sliding scale, so it's not, I can't tell you it's like 1.5% or 2% because it does vary with price. But if you're looking at a $1 million property, for instance, your land transfer tax, if you're in Toronto, is going to be $32,000. And that's a one-time cost on closing. To the buyer, yes. And the buyer pays that to their attorney. We don't have title companies here in Ontario like you have in the majority of the states. We have one attorney that represents the buyer, one attorney that represents the seller, and that's pretty much it. And then we have a lender on each side. So it's a fairly straightforward, fairly simple process. So on closing, you bring your down payment and whatever taxes you're paying, land transfer taxes that you're paying, you bring that to your solicitor and he takes care of all of that. So it's fairly simple. In Toronto, we do have that municipal land transfer tax. So that $32,000 is if you are in Toronto proper. Once you start getting out into the suburbs, into different area codes, your land transfer tax is really just the one provincial tax, which would be somewhere in the vicinity of about $16,000. So it's roughly double, not exactly, but roughly. And again, that's a one-time cost.
You bring up kind of my next question was, you're talking about interior and the suburbs. When you're seeing, and let's just talk about Americans, because that's the majority of our audience. Are they choosing to live more in city apartments or kind of in the suburbs? Do you see any type of a trend?
I wouldn't say there's a trend. I think it really depends on the person and the family. Before COVID, we were working with the University of Toronto and York University with a lot of their relocations. And if we are presented with a potential faculty member that is considering one of our Toronto universities as a potential, like they're being recruited, so they're considering one of the universities for employment, the first thing I need to find out is, what is the family structure? Do they like to be urban? Do they like to be suburban? Do they want vertical living? Because of course our condominium stock is massive. Would they prefer a smaller house in an urban center? Would they prefer a bigger house that's a little bit quieter and they don't want to be in the core where it's really, really active and boisterous and lively? Some people do, some people don't. So I would say there wouldn't be a trend. It would be very specific to the person that's considering the relocation. And the great thing is there's so many different options. So whether it's a single person or a young couple that's looking to relocate and they want to be down in the core, walking distance to everything, or if it's a family with 4 children who want the accessibility of the city via transit, but they don't want to be in that boisterous environment, there's something for everybody.
Well, and let's get to that, right? Let's see what you have brought, some sampling of properties that you brought to us. So I want to switch over to, I think, the 4 properties that you brought us, and I'm going to allow you to, as we bring each one up, kind of describe those, and not just the property itself, but if you could speak a little bit to kind of the surrounding areas, kind of things that popular or interesting, and if there's a situation where that property could possibly be rented out or monetized in a short-term rental. I know not every property is kind of suited for that, but if there's a situation where it is applicable, that might be nice to hear about too, because again, people are, what we're seeing a lot, the trend when we're talking to experts around the world is people who maybe are moving to a place part of the year, but not full time.
Yes.
And so I think anyone who's trying to be a good fiduciary of their resources is going to consider, if I make this purchase, can I actually rent it out either short-term or for a 6-month or so period when maybe they aren't going to be utilizing it. So I think that's incredibly important too. So let us kind of get over, I think we're having a little bit of technical difficulties, but we will click over here in just a second. As soon as we're able to get that up, we'll go through them and just learn a little bit more. Is there anything we didn't cover in the questions that we had that you think might be important to share with the audience?
I think that the really important piece to remember is because we have so many options, there will be an opportunity for virtually everybody to do something. And sometimes too much choice is not a good thing, but at other times it really allows us to customize whatever experience it is that somebody that's either relocating here or looking to invest here is looking for. The one thing we didn't touch on is vacation properties. The lakes that you had alluded to at the very beginning, we have beautiful lakes. We have Muskoka, which is a pricier cottage area, and we have other very, very attractive cottage areas that are beautiful and offer great vacation options as well. So there's so many opportunities for somebody that wants a little piece of real estate in a safe, attractive environment. There's just so much, so many options.
Are those vacation properties like drivable from Toronto? Are they kind of like bedroom communities?
I wouldn't say bedroom communities, because for us that's sort of an hour or less. You can buy a beautiful a country property within about an hour of the city for sure. If you're looking for water, especially swimmable, you're 90 minutes to maybe 2 to 2.5 hours. But one of the recent services that has spawned and has done very well for folks that are purchasing something in the upper price points, we do have helicopter service from the city to deliver you right to your cottage or island property.
Well, that's exciting.
That makes it a little bit easier. You can beat the traffic.
We are trying here. So
Jeanette, you know what? Maybe while you're pulling these up, what I wanted to do with the properties that I sent over to you and Amanda is just give sort of a breadth of variety. A couple of these properties were recent sales. They're not available right now, but obviously as people are looking at these samples and of course watching this video after the fact, our market does move very quickly. Yes. So, even if something's available today, there's a good opportunity to buy next week. It's not going to be here.
Exactly. This is just a snapshot of what you have available. And when we show.
Yeah, this is an estate sale. It's what we would call a move in now, improve over time. type of fixer-upper. It's a semi-detached home on a very, very big pie-shaped lot. It's in a sort of northwest part of the city, which tends to be more affordable. It is so more of a starter neighborhood, less of a walking neighborhood, more of a driving neighborhood. And it's this, I would not look at this as an investment. This would be something that I would consider would be a good future investment for somebody who wants to live there.
Perfect. And so if I were driving from here to say the middle of downtown Toronto, what is that commute like?
It's a commute. It's a commute. You would probably be subwaying as opposed to driving.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh,
it would be. Our transit system is very, very efficient. So, it would be probably anywhere from 30 to 40 minutes from here driving downtown. So it would be more of a transit community.
And how long? See, I'm so not used to subways in Austin, Texas. I wish we had them, but I love the whole idea of the subway system. So the subway ride, is that like 10 minutes? 15 minutes?
No, it would be 25 to 30. It's just a little bit more relaxed because you're not dealing with
Sure. You can be doing other things. Okay,
exactly.
what do we have after Cobb Avenue?
So this is a property that we have available right now, and it is definitely on the larger size of our condominium suites. This is a slightly older building where you do have the opportunity to spread out. Our downtown condos tend to be a little bit smaller, anywhere from 500 to 700 square feet. This one is over 2,500. So it's a great downsize opportunity for someone who is living in the city or somebody who's coming in from a different country who's just used to space. And this community is very, very resort-like, wonderful amenities, concierge 24 hours, very well managed. That's something to consider if you're looking to buy a condominium, is how is it managed? And who's behind the actual condominium corporation? And is it stable and viable?
In 2,500 in downtown Austin, that's a large square footage. So you're saying that that's on the large side?
Absolutely. Okay. This particular suite was actually 2 units originally from the builder, and the first person who had bought it back in the early 90s before our clients, they actually put 2 units together and customized it. So it is a lot of space. It is a lot of space.
Very, very nice.
Price per square foot, and we will see. What do you have next, Jeanette?
Let's see.
This is such a great juxtaposition. So that particular condo that we just saw, that suite is sort of in the north central part of the city. It's right on the Yonge subway line. You did pronounce that right. Yonge Street is the longest street in Canada. It cuts the city right down the middle. So that particular unit was sort of on the north end of the city on the subway line. Whereas this particular unit is right downtown. It's across the street from Trinity Bellwoods Park, which is one of our biggest, most beautiful parks. It's along the Queen Street West, or on Queen Street West along the bottom of the downtown of the city. It's a very hip, young, modern area. We're looking at minimum $1,000 per square foot for downtown properties. Generally, we're edging up into the $1,200 to $1,300 a square foot price point, whereas the unit that we just saw was going to be more in the $700 to $800 a square foot.
You can walk to just about anything you would need.
If you ever need a car, you have the streetcar at your door. You have shops and restaurants and cafes. This would certainly be for a younger demographic, also more rentable. So this would be in a very, very rentable location. Certainly something that would be attractive to people that weren't in the city full time. The one thing that we would have to consider is the city has put some rules in place, much like Austin, with short-term rentals and Airbnb. So that's definitely something to consider if you are looking at a short-term rental.
Yeah, thank you for that. That's important. Okay, and then I think this is our last property, Quebec Avenue.
So this is an older sort of Victorian style semi-detached home that is in the central west quadrant of the city. Toronto is very, very old. We have lots of homes from the mid to late 1800s that have been beautifully renovated, like this one. This one had sold within the last month. The list price of it was $1,299,000. It actually sold for just over $1,500,000. So we do have competition that drives prices up a little bit in some cases. But again, when you put that in line with the interest rates being as low as they are, it still keeps the affordability in perspective as well. And yeah, this is a home that was really, really nicely renovated.
Yeah, with those interest rates, I mean, your buying power is so much bigger. And of course, this is my favorite one because it kind of captures the charm of the old, and then it's beautifully done inside. And I think that's a manageable number, you know, for most buyers. That's just really lovely. Thank you so much for sharing those listings, and thank you for having them be so diverse, because I think when people are watching this, as you said, it's not so much that they're going to buy something that we actually are showing them because the market does move so fast.
It does.
It's more to give a sampling of the various kind of opportunities that are there for people from homes outside of the city to homes that are within the city. And we're going to, in a minute, pull up your information so we can make sure that our viewers, you all take down this information from Irene, because as I think she's demonstrated, she knows her stuff, and you want to be in the best of hands when you are looking to make this type of an investment. I know from visiting with people from all over the world and our own clients here, we have a considerable share of relocation from other countries as well. We've all seen a lot of changes in the last few years.
Absolutely.
Very much so. And I think it's safe to say that many people are moving away from spending money on stuff, and rather than need to spend it on kind of experiences. And what better way to do that, you know, to live and to breathe a different culture in a different country. The lure of seeking kind of these experiences and wanting us to kind of purchase a second home is pretty high now. In just the last 20 months, this is interesting, and this statistic continues to go up. In just the last 20 months, we've seen second home ownership in the U.S. We've seen it increase 24%. And now that's very interesting. And I think, you know, I don't know a study that says this, but I think common sense tells us that it's in response to what has been happening in our world. Now about 10 million Americans own a second home. And I do think it's in response to the idea that you can work elsewhere. Employers are allow you to live elsewhere rather and continue your jobs. And I don't know if that will ever, I think that the genie is out of the bottle on that one. I don't think it'll ever go back. And so why not, you know, to the audience, if you thought about somewhere else, if you've dreamed about somewhere else, if you like going somewhere as a vacation spot, why not consider owning a second home there? Go ahead and explore the possibilities. And as it relates to Canada, it can't get much easier than to cross over the border to the north, right? And we can see, Irene, thank you for such a clear demonstration of all the positives. It's just so easy to understand why so many people choose.
You know what I before you leave that piece, Jeanette, I think it's really important. You touched on something, and I wrote it down because I didn't want to forget to mention it. You talked about appreciation of real estate assets, and for us in Canada, we are actually headed into the third decade of a seller's market. So our prices have been increasing pretty much nonstop when prices in the US have been up and down and a lot more volatile. We've been on a steady increase with only a little tiny blip. Perhaps in 2008, where we didn't see as much appreciation. So Canada overall, we're seeing anywhere from 6 to 8% appreciation every year. In Toronto, you're looking at more like 12 to 15% every year on average. We have had some years where it was substantially more. So you look at the cost of acquisition, and I know it can seem high, but if you are doing this long term, if you're not buying and flipping, if you really do want to have something stable, then you can get in now at today's prices and benefit from 3, 5, 10 years down the road of pretty substantial appreciation. I think that really needs to be highlighted as well.
Yeah, please. Thank you for highlighting that, because our audience tends to be savvy, and that's important to them. I mean, the lifestyle and what you can buy is important too, but I think knowing that your money is secure and also working for you. And if people have visited Canada, I mean, they know kind of the other benefits of the diversity in the landscape and the cultures and the cuisine, and of course, we don't want to forget those polar bears, but it's
don't forget the polar bears.
Don't forget those. It's not a place you want to wander around in the woods and be staring at your phone. You really do need to be alert. You don't know what you're going to come across in the wilderness. But Canada, and I don't even know if you know this, Irene, but I was doing my homework. It is Canada as a whole was ranked 9th overall in the 2020 HSBC Expat Explorer Survey.
Wow.
If those of you are looking, this Expat Explorer survey, you can go online and download it. They do it every year, and it really is an amazing resource for expats who want to purchase in another country and maybe live there part-time. It's a great resource. So do download that HSBC Expat Explorer survey. And The Economist, they also do a global livability survey, and 3 of Canada's cities made the top 10. So roughly a third of the cities for the top 10 in Toronto is 7th. So way to go, Irene. You are a good steward of Toronto. More relocation coming your way for sure. And you know, as I said, Canada is just an easy go-to spot. I love the simplicity of that. You may not have Thanksgiving, but you do have so much more to offer.
We had Thanksgiving in October.
Oh, you do? Oh, well, see there, I stand corrected. That's incredible. Well, we had talked about doing this next Thursday, and I reminded Irene, that's our Thanksgiving. That won't work. That won't work for us. But in any event, we appreciate you so much, your generosity, and most importantly, your expertise. You all have that contact information for Irene. Consider her a resource. Know that we have matched up to $50 million in sales from Explore. So your sale could be next, and you want Irene and Philip and her group to guide you. So keep that information handy. But we're out of time. Unfortunately, it goes by so fast, but it was lovely. Thank you so much, Irene. We are grateful to you.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity. I do want to make sure that whoever's watching this after the fact, or even now, is even though we are in Toronto, we have wonderful contacts all across the country. Obviously, I would love to represent everybody in the whole country, and I can't. So whether it's Toronto proper, Toronto outskirts, or anywhere in Canada, I would welcome an opportunity to be a resource for whoever is in need of one and is considering Canada for any sort of purchase.
Irene, you're amazing. That is the perfect segue into the next thing I was going to say. You are brilliant. And that is, you know, if this is intriguing to you, reach out to Irene for Canada. Reach out to your local Keller Williams agent. Your local agent in your city, anywhere, they can connect you to experts anywhere in the U.S., anywhere throughout the world. Keller Williams wants to be part of bringing your dreams into reality for you and your loved ones. And the folks over at Keller Williams Real Estate International are working tirelessly to expand our reach. I can't even remember the last country, it's escaping me, that they told me that they just brought into the fold. And my understanding is here in a couple months, there's going to be 3 or 4 more. So they are working hard to be able to bring that dream of home ownership all over the world and to be able to connect you to your dreams in other parts in the world. So thank you all.
Wonderful.
Thank you for joining us. We are going to take a break for the holiday next month, but we will be back in January with another visit from around the world. So until next time, happy holidays. I wish you all the joy and the peace as you take a break to spend time with your loved ones. And please do take a break. Take a break and enjoy, because life is short and we need to be kind and loving with one another and just spend that wonderful time together. So
beautiful. Thank you.
Beautiful city of Austin, Texas. Come visit us. This is Jeanette Spinelli with the Spinelli Residential Group, powered by Place. We are your Austin, Texas real estate consultants. So you all go out, make this a powerful day, stay healthy, and above all else, be kind. Thank you all so much.
Bye.